Hello, good evening. This is Rob Costa for Card Game Expo. Today I'm going to be doing something a bit different. I'm gonna go through a history of the Blue Moon deck. So Blue Moon is an archetype that, it's Blood Moon control with the cryptic commands. It's a blue Blood Moon deck, hence the name Blue Moon. So what this deck is trying to do is it's trying to remand and mana leak things, and then just play a Blood Moon and hope it mana screws the opponent. And then you just win the game with what used to be Battle Score, but definitely isn't anymore today. And I'm just gonna go through some lists. I found lists as old as 2012, so I'm gonna start there. This is Yuki Hiro's deck. He played Blue Moon. This is the oldest list that I could find. It's a list from 2012 to be exact. It's a list from Pro Tour Return to Ravnica, which was on October 21st. This is what Blue Moon used to look like 10 years ago, because it's actually just almost 10 years ago at this point. The win condition was Battle Skull, the removal was for Darkin Shackles. Man, Battle Skull without Stoneforge Mystic is unimaginable these days, but we did it for years. There's some sleight of hands here, because Opt wasn't a thing yet, and they needed the card first. This is, sleight of hand is definitely a choice of just wanting the card right now. If you want to play Serum Visions, you accept that you have time to draw cards, cry to, then draw the card next turn. While Sleight of Hand is much more a choice of I want this card right here, right now. So with the speed of the format in 2012, Sleight of Hand was the call. For Spell Snare, because Burn was a thing, counter spells were a thing, Infect was a thing. There were a lot of 2-mana spells you needed to counter back then. For the rest, we have Lightning Bolt. This is just a classic staple. Lightning Bolt has just always been here. 4 is a charm. I kind of want to vomit inside myself now. So, yeah, I don't like Is a Charm. I've never liked it, but we used to play 4 of them. So, for the rest, let's see. We have Mana Leak as well. This is just a card that's still here. Remount is still here. 3 Snapcaster Mages. Blasphemy these days, but here they are. The Darkin Shackles I already mentioned. This is just a card that's very good with a lot of islands, so hence the island count in this deck. There's 10 islands, I believe, in the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's about 10 islands in here, which is a lot, but it's because of Darkin Shackles. Something else we don't do anymore either is just 4 Blood Moons. Just another thing anymore these days. You just don't need to, and there are way too many red decks for this to work. But yeah, it worked back then, so power to the people, I guess. And let's see, we have 2 Vendilion Click as well, because you do need to actually kill your opponent. So we have Vendilion Click and Battle Skull, Cryptic Command as well. Just already there. So that's the core of this deck. This is what this deck looked like in 2012. For the sideboard, we have more removal and Threats of Disloyalty. This is just to take over Tarmogoyf. That's the main reason this is here. This deck could not beat a Tarmogoyf to save its life, which is also a very big reason for 4 Spell Snares. Vendilion Click number 3 in here as well. There's a Mindbreak Trap here. That's because Storm was really big back then. At the beginning of Modern, Storm was just one of the big decks. So yeah, that's why the Mindbreak Trap is here. Relic of Progenitus seems obvious, just lots of graveyard stuff. We have 3 Pyroclasm here because, people just played creatures and we needed to kill them. And Anger of the Gods wasn't a thing yet. And there's 2 Vandal Blast in here as well. The Affinity was just one of the better decks. You also had the Eggs deck, which is a deck that uses 1-mana cantrips to draw its entire deck. It's the most boring thing ever. It later evolved into Lantern Control, but yeah, Vandal Blast was definitely the card for that. And we have 3 Sowing Salt here. This is for Tron. This is just the card we were playing against Tron back then. So this is Yuki Hiro's deck. Yuki Hiro, I need to say that correctly. My Japanese isn't that tight. So anyway, let's get on with it. That was 2012. So 2013, I couldn't find any very interesting lists. So I'm just going to go ahead and mosey along to 2014. And just get on with the evolution. So 2014, we had Fabian Moisevich. And he is the first person that I could find that played 1 Hallowed Fountain in here. And 3 Timely Reinforcements in the sideboard. So that's a big evolution from 2012. There's also Keranos showing up here. And Keranos is the sweetest card ever. I highly recommend playing it on. It's great. Anger of the Gods made its first appearance as well. We have Negate, Dispel, like this is all pretty obvious. Magma Spray showing up as well. 3 Vandal Blast again because Affinity, Combust because Splinter Twin, Spellskite because stuff. There's just so much stuff, like Infect just dies to Spellskite, so that's really nice. And we have Engineered Explosives as well in the cyber, so this is starting to look a bit more like what we're used to these days, that with Anger of the God, Engineered Explosives. But I just wanted to immediately highlight the Flooded Strand into Hallowed Fountain tech. It's, from 2014. So this is a list that's running 1 Battle Skull, so we're definitely just closing in on just, not playing them. But one thing this list has that none of the other lists has, so that's why I included it, was, this list has Dig Through Time. And Dig Through Time is the greatest control card ever printed. Well, besides Ancestral Recall, of course, but man, we're not getting that. So Dig Through Time in this deck Dig Through Time is Dig Through Time. It's insanely powerful. And it's the whole reason I still want to build Blue Moon in Pioneer someday. Dig Through Time, dig 7 cards. So you just go ahead and control the game using... this is a slower meta game, you can tell, because Serum Visions is here. And 3 Spell Snare as well, so there's less Goyfs, less Lightning Helixes to counter here. We have 3 Mana Leak, 3 Remand again, up to 4 Snapcaster Mage, for Dark and Shackle still in here. A lot less islands though. 3 Vendilion Click as well, 4 Cryptics. So definitely a more streamlined list, and you can see that Dig Through Time got printed. Anger of the Gods got printed in the sideboard, so a lot more stuff that just got printed and pushes the deck along. And the mana base just kind of the same, just less islands, and the Hallowed Fountain in there as well. And there's 1 repeal as a catch-all answer. Oh, whoopsie. Oh, perfect. Exactly what I meant to do, totally. So, another list from 2014 that I noticed was Li Shi Tian's list. This is a list that made it deep on the Pro Tour. And this list is another list just showing how much Tron there used to be at the Pro Tour, and why Tron used to be such a powerhouse. We have 4 Blood Moons. And we also have 2 Spreading Seas, which is kind of nuts actually. This is just him saying that, I need to beat Tron. I need to beat Tron a lot and consistently, so let's play a ton of cards against Tron. Again, Threads of Disloyalty here as well for Tarmogoyf, Spell Snares for Tarmogoyf, just 4 of them again. Vapor Snag as well. This deck is just fishing for removal. They need it so badly. Just Vapor Snag for Dark and Shackles, 2 Battle Skull as well. Lightning Bolts. This is just an old school Blue Moon deck. And just because of the Vidalcan Shackles, just a ton of islands as well. And in the sideboard, we have some old school tech as well. Counterflux for Storm again. Whew, lots of talking today. 3 Anger of the Gods in here, because there's just a lot of fast decks with a lot of creatures. We have a Combust for Splinter Twin still. Vandal Blast for Affinity. Flame Flash for just extra removal. Teferi, Mage of Sulfur for Splinter Twin, for Cruel Control was really big at this point. Grixis was a very much a played deck. Splinter Twin also just powerful. Lots of Blue Moon going around as well, so a bit of an underdog, but still just enough Blue Moon going around. 3 Vendilion Click, you just need win, cause even more Spreading Seas in the sideboard, which is kinda nuts actually. And a Negate, because a Negate is just playable, it's fine. So that's what the 2014 list looks like. I had another one as well from Mark Tobias. And I highlighted this one because it's the first one where there's only 3 Blood Moon in here, I believe. So. Oh, and there's a thing twice here, so you can definitely see like this deck being a very slow deck, very controlly. Well, these were just lists that were all doing really well in 2014. So we have like the Battle Skull, the Repeal, Spell Snares as well. And just a more classical mana base. Sideboard, let's see. Oh yeah, Shadow of Doubt. There was Scapeshift was a thing back then. Now it's become Amulet Titan, Field of the Dead stuff. But then it was Scapeshift. So what they did was Scapeshift, look for their lands, and you just Shadow of Doubted them right out of the game. Keranos, God of Storm as well. Keranos was just a staple in blue-red decks. It was just that powerful back then. 2 Combust, Vanderblood. Like, the rest of this isn't very exciting, but yeah, just look at the very old school list. Then we get to 2016, and I highlighted this list because it's my first ever 5.0. This is the first list that I ever got published. This is in 2016. And yeah, this is just the stuff I like playing. I enjoy this deck a lot. I've played a crap ton of Blue Moon basically. And well, as you can see, even in 2016, just 2 Battle Skulls, no Stoneforge Mystic. Like, it's perfectly, back then it was perfectly viable. Pia and Kira on the Lar making an entrance. Jones was really big at the time, so I wanted some main deck stuff that could grind. 4 Blood Moons, Mana League Remode. Like, a lot of this stuff is definitely just becoming the core already, like this. With let's see, without the Young Pyromancer, because those are in standard. And Roast isn't standard either, but let's see. So like this. This is just the core. Like, this is what we still play to this day. Like a bunch of Blood Moons. Electrolyze, very fun. I love that card. I wish I could play it more often. Cryptic Command as well. So this is already getting to like 46 cards out of 60. The same as what it is these days. So you can definitely tell that the deck evolved over the years. Let's see. Oh, we also have 1 Desolate Lighthouse in here because you need your value. You know, just 4 Blood Moons and just a value land, because that's how we roll in modern in those days. Sideboard, we had a Jace Architect of Thought. I would change this out for Jace the Mind Sculptor in a heartbeat these days. Tron stuff, Anger of the Gods, Keranos. Yeah, Keranos was a sideboard staple for like years, so this card is super powerful. Spreading Seas as well here. Negate, Dispel, Flame Slash. Like, just artifact hate, affinity hate, land hate. Dredge. I just kind of conceded the Dredge matchup in this one because it just wasn't around. I remember thinking to myself, like, Dredge isn't the thing I'm gonna encounter, so let's just bank on not hitting it at all. Definitely a thing you can do is just being like, I have a bad matchup, just hope I dodge it completely and just ignore it. So, but yeah, this, if anyone ever wondered, this is my first ever published list, and I actually really want to play this again, so I might do that in a video soon. Then we get to 2018. This is a list from the Mox, I believe. Let's see, I made some notes. Yeah, this is the 7th place Mox finishing list. And this list is already getting very close to what we're playing these days. We have the Jace the Mind Sculptors in here. The Cryptic Commands are there. Still Electrolyze hanging out. I love Electrolyze so much. 2 Blood Moons, 4 Reman, Snapcaster Mage, Thing in the Ice. Thing in the Ice is a card that once it got printed... it wasn't played that much, but when Opt got printed, Thing in the Ice just skyrocketed into every Blue Moon deck. And yeah, it did very well. This is a 7th place Mox finish in 2018, so yeah, that's just an excellent finish. And you can definitely tell over the years that these decks are coming closer and closer and closer to the lists we just see today. Like, there's still some sleight of hands here that we don't run anymore. But yeah, Flame Slash, Abrade, Electrolyze is gone as well, but we're very, very close to what we get in 2020 as well. The sideboard 4 Logic Knot, like, this surprised me, I forgot about this. So the logic here is that in game 1, you just check what deck they are, and if you need more counter spells, you just Logic Knot them, because the games against like blue-white control, and they didn't have Dovin's Veto back then. So what you did was just play a long game against blue-white control, and then in game 2 just, board it in 4 times counterspell, which is just what it was. And this is also the time where Dig Through Time and Trash Cruise had been banned for a while, and people were just trying out like all sorts of delve spells. Tassiger saw a lot of play during these years. Gurmag Angler came about, Logic Knot was seeing a ton of play. So this is really from the time where we were discovering how good the delve spells really were. Pia and Kira, not love for John in here. Anger of the Gods, just a mainstay. Grim Lava Monster for Infect and Affinity and Burn. Let's see, what else do we have? Is it Staticaster? Humans was coming up, but Is it Staticaster was just really good. Like, Is it Staticaster is just a very, very good card. And 2 Relic as well. So you can definitely tell that in 2018 we were very much heading towards the list we're playing now. So then we get to 2019 and there was nothing else to pick. I just picked a list from the Pensword. He just was the guy for Blue Moon. Like, no questions asked. This is the guy. And this is just what he played. And this is just getting very close as well. Just 4 Opt, 4 Serum Visions, 4 Thing in the Eye, 4 Snapcaster Mage, 4 Remont, 1 Spell Pierce, which is kind of funky. He was a huge fan of Burst Lightning, which I wasn't into that much, but he loved it. One upgrade as well, 2 Blood Moon. Modern Horizons got printed, so we get Archmage's Charm, which is a huge pickup for this deck. The 1 Vendilion Click still ticking around. Narset Pater of Veils, super powerful in this deck, just minus it. 3 mana Planeswalkers are just that powerful, and you can definitely tell that this deck needed to be fast, like no Jaces. Yeah, just no Jaces means, well, yeah, no time for Jace. We need the cards now, and we need to go fast. Cryptic Command in here as well, and Magmatic Sinkhole. As I said, Delve spells really powerful, so we got one more. We immediately played it. Let's see, sideboard. We get Force of Negation, Spell Snare is in there as well. Dispel, like these are all pretty standard. This is just a new Tron card against Tron, Ceremonious Rejection. We have Surgical Extraction as well, the one-off Ashiok. And just more removal for the matchups. So basically the game plan with this deck is to, in game 1, just see if you can win the game, obviously. But are you like the control role? Are you the aggressor? Like, what do you need to do? And in game 2, you bought in more of that. So if you're like against blue-white, you're the aggressor. So you bought in like all sort of counter spells and just go aggressive as possible. And if you're against Infect, you're the defense. You're the one that needs the defense. So you're like, okay, board out some Cryptic Commands, board out a bunch of Narsets, and just board in like these Flame Slash and Anger. So you're definitely just shuffling along with those. But I'll go into that deeper in another video. I'm gonna do the combo finishes and the whatchamacallit? The sideboard guide for this deck. I'll do them on another video because this is already getting pretty long. So yeah, 2019, the Pen Sword was the guy for Blue Moon. I just wanted to thank him again for all the content he created. He was one of the main people that inspired me to do this. So yeah, thank you, Jacob. Thank you. Then we get to 2020. I just picked a random list from 2020 that did well, and this is a list by TSP Jendrak. And I don't know if they make content, but I dare to copy their list blind. I don't know who they are for the rest, but Goldicott as well. He's someone whose list you can just copy. That good. TSP Jendrak, another person where you can just be like, oh, he played that. Yeah, just copy paste it, play it, run it through a league. It'll be fine. And this is just a list after my own heart. This is a 2020. This list is from let's see, when was it? October 2020. And we have this is just a list how it looks today. Like 2 Cleansing Wildfire, 4 Snapcaster, 4 Remand, Opt, Spell Snare, Ball, Blood Moon, 4 Archmage's Charm, Force of Negation, Jace, 4 Mystic Sanctuary, and there's also, we have the Blood Moon and the 4 Mystic Sanctuary. So we get to go Cryptic Command with Mystic Sanctuary, bounce the land, put Cryptic back on top, Jace into it, etc. Just get a loop going. So that's really good. Ragrin Triome in here as well to make sure that we go ahead and get our Celestial Purge, our Timely Reinforcements. Just lots of burn these days. And for the rest of the sideboard, yeah, we upgraded to Entrancing Melody. But for instance, like the Fairy Major Salvi is still here after 7 years. Fidelic still here after 7 years. Anger of the Gods still here after 6 years. Relic still here from the beginning. So yeah, lots of stuff with this deck that kinda changed. But yeah, Aethergust is a new kid on the block, but Entrancing Melody is basically just an upgrade to Threats of Disloyalty. And the rest, yeah, just cards that we already used to play. Gone are the Keranos, gone are the Battle Skulls. The modern format just got too efficient for those. Which is a shame. I would love to jam a Battle Skull in this deck again. Let's see, is there something else I want to say? Yeah, I think Cleansing Wildfire and Blood Moon is something we still need to figure out. Like, how do we want to do this? Because this feels super awkward together. But yeah, for the rest, this is just what a Blue Moon list looks like today. If you want to play Blue Moon or you want to build a list, I highly recommend just starting with like something like this and working from there. With that being said, as always, if you want to listen to more of this kind of stuff, yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope people like this. I've never tried something like this. So if you enjoy it, let me know. If you have a deck you want me to do this, do a history on, just let me know. And with that being said, as always, thank you for watching and have a nice day.